the Tau, a rapidly expanding multi-species stellar empire, and the overall goody two-shoes of the 41st millennium. I've got a couple of Tau that I painted up when I got back into the hobby and was really into Kill Team 2018 when that was a thing, RIP. After recently picking up a few new models, I decided to rebase the entire army, and I want to show it off for you today. I'm very pleased with the results. I'll give you some quick tips and tricks, and show off a few of the models. The Tau are a moderate challenge for a new hobbyist and painter, mostly due to their hard edges and large flat panels. You can't just slap a wash on them and call them a day. They usually sing if you put panel lining and hard edge highlighting. And it's a great army to see your painting progress over time. That's why they were the perfect project for me when I first started out. Hi, I'm Chris. I like to paint things, and today is the first in a series of what I think I'm going to call hobby blogs or vlogs or something like that. Basically just the crap I've been painting this week. Now, if you want to know what I've been painting this week, if you care, it's these guys, a Tau Kill Team. Well, I'll say I've only painted a couple of them. I've had a few of these models for a while, most of these models for a while, but I got a few of them in a blind bag this week, and after painting them up, it made me want to redo the entire force. It made me rebuild and reconsider my basing. It made me actually dust them a little bit because boy were they getting dusty in my room. And honestly, it just made me want to get them out and show them off because I love the paint scheme I came up with, and after throwing on the base, that extra splash of color I think really makes them into something I can be proud of today. A lot of them I started painting from, a couple of years ago when I got into the hobby back into the hobby because they were, these guys right here, they're super cheap. You can buy the pack of 3 for like nothing, and when a box of stuff costs a lot of money, and you gotta be economical. So, what do we got here? We have 1 OG metal Vaspid Stingwing, 5 Fire Warrior Breachers, question mark? I don't know. 3 Stealth Suits, 1 Kroot, just 1. I don't know, he's not a shaper, he's literally just a Kroot carnivore I got, again in a blind bag. And an Ethereal, that's the newest model and honestly my favorite. Oh, and who can forget little gun drone guy. Now, I plan on going over every single model in this video, but the big thing you're probably all wondering is where do the bases come from? Well, I'm not going to bury the lead. I will show you where the bases come from. They come from these. Good. All of that good crinkly ASMR noise. Now, what are these? These are a bunch of floral plants that my wife has laying around from her model kits. She likes to build book nooks and cool stuff like that. Book nooks, little DIY dollhouses. They're apparently super cheap on Amazon, and they come with just like MDF, so they're not like plastic. They're very nice, but they come with an excess of like little bits and leaves and all this stuff, and I used them on all of these bases. It gave me an idea to just redo these. My original Tau bases were like this weird wavy cardboard. I'll insert a picture now if I have one, but they were not very good. The premise was interesting. I found this wavy cardboard and I was like, that looks like sand dunes, but it's not sand dunes. It was just clearly cardboard. This I'm extremely happy with. First up, we have some Fire Warrior Breachers. Now, the first time I ever posted these guys on Reddit, people said they kind of looked like Halo Tau, which I thought was a very cool idea. I'm very here for Halo Tau. This was like my first attempt at like hard edge highlighting, especially on all of these flat panels. They're not easy. Boy, when you're a new painter, these guys are very tricky, but I'm pleased with them looking back. They're not the worst thing I painted from that time. I've probably been painting again for about, definitely under a year. It's like the middle of COVID, like heavy coronavirus, if you could believe it. They were a bit of a challenge. I don't think I knew what I wanted to do, but I did know that I wanted to go green. They were the original basing scheme I did with those old cardboard bases, but I'm very pleased with the way they look now with our new floral bases. For their armor, I used Castellan green, highlighting all the way up to Elysian green. The blue trim, I'm almost positive is Army Painter Wolf Gray, but if it's not that, it's another Army Painter color because that's mostly what I was working with at the time. All of the silver and metal details are rough iron, highlighted with an Army Painter metallic, I'm not sure which one. And any of the edge highlighting is all Gloss Agrax Earthshade for some reason. Don't ask me, it's kind of what I was working with at the time. I believe their clothing is Storm Vermin fur, but I'm not positive, and I have to bring my pot back to life, so not positive. I'll find a replacement if I have to. Next up are the Tau stealth suits, and if you can believe it, these are the first models that I painted in this warband. I would say if you can believe it, but it's pretty obvious. I mean, they're a little beat up, they're missing some pieces, they definitely saw the wrong side of a couple of cats a few times. They're the only thing I'm actually considering going back and touching up some of the paint, but the battle damage I think gives them character. Now, I painted them first starting out because honestly they're very cheap. It's very cheap to get a pack of 3 of these guys. And it shows. I mean, they're old models, but they're still full of lots of flavor. I mean, I love them. I kind of weirdly prefer the older metal ones, and I'd love to get my hands on some of those. At least one, I think. Turn him into the squad leader instead of this guy. Interesting fact about Tau stealth suits, if you're into interesting facts about Tau stealth suits, the original metal model is called the XV15, whereas the different plastic model is the XV25, symbolizing an upgrade not only in our world, but in the 40k world as well. I think that's fun. If your definition of fun is facts about Tau stealth suits. That being said, my favorite thing about these models is honestly the plants. The plants really, really add that extra touch that I think my paint job was lacking, and it's very, very evident when you look at them up close like this. That being said, I love them, especially this guy with his gun in the air instead of pointed forward. It gives him kind of a heroic pose. He used to be on a little Kragnos rock. He used to be the squad leader. The 3 of these models use the exact same colors as the Fire Warriors I mentioned earlier. I believe there's like a blue wash on their lights because I definitely was not ever going to try actual lighting effects. I think if I were to change anything on these models, I would fix some of this edge highlighting and make it a little better. Get rid of a few of the old tide marks from, learning how washes work, and fix that glow on their face. I might keep the battle damage, maybe even work in the battle damage, because battle damage is cool, and it gives them character. Now, what good would Tau be without auxiliaries? Look at these guys. I love Tau auxiliaries. I think Tau need to be 50% auxiliaries, if we're being honest with ourselves. They need to do a whole new slew of Kroot, and they need more than just one set of Vaspids. So for those of you asking, yes, this Kroot is flesh-colored. When I was a young lad, I painted some flesh-colored Kroot in Dawn of War Dark Crusade, and I've always thought that flesh-colored Kroot were coolest. Maybe they're like hairless, like a naked mole rat, something like that. I don't know. I've painted this guy 3 different times. Once was for a diorama that I can show right now, but he subsequently fell off that diorama. Once was just for practice. That might have been before the diorama. I can't remember. And then this would be the 3rd time. I hope I don't have to paint him again, because he matches in this little force. Before he was green and red. Don't ask why. That's just kinda how it goes. But Kroot are sweet. I have definitely thought of picking up the Kroot Firestalker Kinbad, I think they're called, the kill team, or at least like 3 of them. I don't know that I want to paint 10 Kroot. I like painting in batches of like 3. So if anyone knows where I can get just 3 Kroot kill team members, let me know. I would be happy to purchase 3 Kroot kill team members, wink wink, and I'm gonna paint them like naked mole rats. The Vaspid, genuinely no idea. Ooh. Almost dropped that. He's a metal model. The Vaspid, genuinely, had no idea how to paint a Vaspid. I think this came out pretty cool. He was a practice in speed paints mostly. His gun obviously is the same green as the others' guns, and their armor, but he's mostly contrast or speed paint, and then using the mixing contrast with white or an off-white to break out the highlights. He is specifically these colors. lizard folk cyan, and then highlighted up with leather white. Again, he's an old metal model, and I wish more models were metal. Obviously, kit bashing is a pain in the balls with metal models, but painted metal models like this, especially old chunky metal models, super fun. Yeah, they might not have the best detail, and you can literally bend his head back and forth like that, but I love them. I think they're sweet. I like their heft and their weight on the tabletop. I decided to do a green contrast under his wings, if you can see that. Not sure if it was the right move, but I think it was cool. I definitely would like a small little detachment of Vaspid, preferably all metal if I can help it. Finally, that brings us to you, my Ethereal. Now, Ethereals are the coolest part of Tau because they're aliens and you get to see their blue skin, which is the best part of this model for me. I was very pleased with how his skin came out, and I'll go over how I did that in a minute. I hope you noticed the subtle changes I made to him because I didn't want him flying on the flag that all of them come with. The flag is cool, but I'm going to use it as a bit for something else. I decided flowers, and honestly, I decided to make him sort of look like he's floating. I don't know how well it works now after, some super glue and time. The thing I used to make him float went from transparent to pretty much opaque. But I guess it looks like a weird hover jet thing. I don't know. Any tips on to make that transparent again, let me know. If you want to know what it is, it's one of these, which is for a paintbrush. So I just kind of snipped it and cut it up and stuck it up in there and glued it down. I think I used a bit too much super glue. That being said, I love this model. I think he's the best of the entire squad, which he should be. Realistically, he is in charge of all of them. His skin is made up of a layering process of 3 different colors, starting with Army Painter Wolf Gray, layered up through Reaper Leather White, and glazes and washes of Vallejo Blue Wash. I like layering. I don't like painting skin. I'm not gonna pretend I knew how to paint skin going into this model. Honestly, it was a bit of a fluke, but it worked out super well. Maybe I'm actually better at painting than I thought. I'm not sure. Regardless, he does need a few touch-ups. I mean, there's a few spots I really just haven't had the time to get to yet. Mostly like the little wrist thing and the weird little thing I used to cover up a mold line. And then his cloak is a little dirty in a few areas, but from far away, can't even tell. Up close, yeah, there's a few problems. It's not perfect. It was made with I think leather white or maybe an off, I don't know, like a sandy color, washed a bunch of times, and the wash just didn't pool properly. Kind of was fighting the cloak the whole time, so I tried to just layer it by hand. I don't know. Came out pretty good. The thing on his waist, I'm pretty sure, belongs to a Stormcast Eternal. And like I said, I used it to cover up a large gap on his cloak because I didn't know how to fill it. He still has like a mold line running down that I may put some checks into or some stitching so it looks like I meant to do it. I'm not sure. And then his little staff, is it a halberd or is it just a signal? I'm not sure. His staff is just silver because I didn't want it to distract from the rest of the model. I think I could add a couple some panel line or something, but I just wanted it to be there. I felt like if I put too much, it would take away from his nice face and the little pops of red at the bottom. I think the real showcase of this model is about here, right? Is most of it. The staff, honestly, get rid of it. I think it still looks the business. So that's my entire kill team. Now, stick around for some glamour shots, if you are so inclined. Alright, that's it from me. Again, I'm Chris. I like to paint things. I hope you liked this video and you didn't see it as filler. If you have any questions on where to acquire those plants, I might put one of the kits that my wife builds in the description. Let me know if you think they look good. Let me know any tips and tricks you have to paint how. Do you repaint your old models? Because I'm considering not bothering touching them, but part of me thinks I could redo them and make them really, really sing. I haven't decided yet. There you go. Post it in the comments if you got to the end of the video. Do you repaint your old models or not, and why? Let me know. I'm interested. I'll read them. I'll comment back. Again, I hope this didn't really feel like filler. I hope you actually thought it was cool, and you wanted to see what I did this week. If you thought it was filler, I'll just go back to posting like once a month when I have time to paint and edit. Either way, I've been Chris. I like to paint things. Have a good night.